Hey guys, and welcome to another tutorial. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cute little stylized character in Blender. I'm going to be using Blender 2.8 free, and I'm going to be rendering in the Eevee engine. So we're going to be going through the complete process from making the character to setting up this little scene, the lighting and the materials. So it's going to be a complete tutorial. I'm not going to be skipping anything. I will be making this scene file available to my Patreons. There'll be more information about that in the description below. You can go check that out. Also, if you look down here, you can see the keys I'm pressing, if that makes things easier for you as well. Okay, so let's get into this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so the new scene open up in Blender, go ahead and select your default cube. And with the default cube selected, we're going to go into a front orthographic view. We're going to tab into edit mode. And we're going to select these top vertices here. And then we're going to go S, X, and we're going to scale them down into X, just to make it a little bit more pointy. And then we're going to go G, Z, and just bring this up a few spaces, just so we have this shape here. Go to your right orthographic view, select all of these vertices and go S, Y. Now this value here doesn't matter. Make it as thick as you want or as thin as you want. I'm just going to go with something like that. Doesn't really matter, totally up to you. Go to your front view. And then what we're going to do is hovering our cursor here, or our mouse pointer thingy, over this shape. We're going to go Control R, and you're going to see this yellow line appear. And then if you roll your middle mouse wheel up, you can add in loops or you can subtract loops by rolling it in. So we're going to roll in just a few loops like this, so about this many, but make sure we have one in the middle here. So we don't want an odd number like that, or an even number. We want an odd number like this. So I'm just going to go like this and right click to let go, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts. Okay, that's good. Then we're going to select these vertices here, these two here, and we're going to go enable our proportional editing. We're going to make the fall off type sphere. Then we're going to go G, Z, and just bring this down. And if you roll your middle mouse wheel as well, you can edit the fall off amount. So we're just going to go something like that, give it a little bit of a slope. And now we can do the rest. Pretty easy. So let's go Control R again, add in a loop cut, but this time this way. Double G, and we're just going to slide it down to here, and then we're creating the part that's going to be the skin. And then we're going to go Control R again, hovering over here in the middle, Control R, double click, and then double G, and just bring this guy down here. So we're creating the part of our watermelon that's going to be like the white part of the melon. So let's just select these loops here, double G just to slide them down. So we want our skin to be about that much, and then select this, double G, and just slide it down. So you can make this as much as you want. Like if you want a bit more white in your watermelon, you can make this thinner, but I'm just going to go with something like that. And then what I'm going to do is go Control R, double click, add in a loop cut here, Control R, double G, slide a loop cut in here, just to tighten these up. Control R, double G, slide down a loop cut over here. And then hovering over here, Control R, double click, and double G, slide in a loop cut over here. Control R, double click, double G, and slide in a loop cut over here. And then what we're going to do is hovering over here, go Control R, and we're going to add in a whole bunch of loop cuts over here, like this, and then double click. And then we're going to come up here, Control R, double click, double G, and slide in a loop here. Go to your right orthographic view, do the same thing, Control R, roll it twice to add in two of them, double click, and then S, G, and just scale it along S, Y, and scale it along the Y. And we're just adding these in, so when we add our subdivision modifier, if we go and add in a subdivision surface modifier, we're not going to get any of that like sort of like weird deforming. So if I'm, for example, if I slide at this, you can see here it's looking a bit weird, but if we tighten it up in here with a loop cut, it just makes things look a bit better. Okay, so here we have the modeling done for this. So we're just going to go G, Z, bring this guy up so it's sitting about this high, maybe a little bit higher. And we're going to add in the two little eyes. We're going to go Shift A, we're going to go to our meshes, add in a sphere, and then go G, move it over here, S to scale it down, go to Object, and enable Shade Smooth with this guy selected. And then we're going to go add in a mirror modifier. Click on this little eyedropper and select this watermelon slice here. And then what we're going to do is go G, just move it in here, go to your right orthographic view, and then G, Y, and just move it forward in your scene. These are going to be these two cute little beady eyes. And what else can we do? Okay, so let's just start adding in some placeholder materials. So select this watermelon guy over here. And what we're going to do is go to our materials tab here, and we're going to hit new. And I'm just going to call it M for melon. And by default, because it's the first material, it's going to be added to all of this. But let's just quickly go down to our viewport display with that material selected, and let's just make the viewport color something we can recognize. So I'm going to go with this kind of watermelon color. And then what I'm going to do is go to my face select here, and going Shift Alt, I'm going to select this loop of faces here. I'm going to hit the plus, go new, and I'm just going to call this white. It's going to be the white part, and I'm going to go assign. And by default, the viewport color will be white, so we'll just leave it at that. And then what we're going to do is loop select these vertices here, these faces here, and then we're going to go Control plus just twice or 3 times to select that all, and then go Control minus just to shrink the selection, just so we have these bottom faces selected. And then we're going to create a new material, assign, and let's call this skin. And let's go down to our viewport display and just make it a color like this so we can see it's been applied. Okay, so here we have this, and you can go back. You can also just select this loop of edges here as well with Shift Alt, and just give it a white material, just like that. So here we have the temporary placeholder materials. Select the eyes here as well. Go new. Let's just call these eyes. Go down to your viewport display and just make it black like this. Now the viewport display is only what you see in the viewport. It's not going to be the actual surface material. Okay, so let's add in a plane. So we're going to go Shift A, add in a plane. Just S to scale it up for now. Just any size will do for now. And we can also add a mouth to this character. I was just going to quickly do that. So just select this character, tab into edit mode. This is super easy, by the way. All we're going to do is just select this face here, this one, this one, this one, and then also these ones here. Okay, just these faces here. Make sure none of the other ones are selected. Then we're going to go ES to extrude it and scale it in, then ES one more time. Something like this. Go X and delete the faces. Go to Edge Select and then select all of these edges here. Then we're going to go Shift Alt S, and we're going to pull like this, and it's going to make it spherical. And then we're going to go G, Z, and just scale it down. Then all we have to do is go to our vertices, select this vertex at the top, and go G, Z, and just bring it down. So we're creating like a mouth shape. Let's enable X mirror up here. And now if we select this vertices on either side, it'll mirror on the other side. So we're just going to bring these vertices in a bit, just creating a mouth looking shape like this. Okay, let's loop select these vertices. We're going to go E, Y, and extrude it in the Y a little bit, and then ES to extrude and scale it like that. And then we're going to go E, Y, and extrude it in some more, and then ES to extrude and scale it down, and then F to fill it in, and then ES one more time, just like that. So we're just extruding it in like that, and then let's go back to object mode, go object, and enable shade smooth, just so we have a cute little mouth like this. So let's quickly add in a camera. Now you might already have a camera in your scene, but I'm just going to go with an angle like this, and then I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add in a camera. With that camera selected, hit 0 to go into camera view, then G, hit your middle mouse wheel and just pull back and zoom out, and then go G, Z, and just move your camera up. So we just want a pose or a position for a camera that's something like this. So let's go over to our camera settings. Make sure under the type we make it orthographic. Go to your output settings, and we'll make the Y value and the resolution 1920 as well, because we're going to be working with a square aspect ratio. Then go back to your camera settings, and depending on where you've placed your camera, this might be different, but if you mess around with the orthographic scale, you can zoom in and out. So we're just going to go till we're about this far away, but it can be whatever you want for your scene to be. So I'm just going to go something like this, and also I'm just going to rotate my camera a little bit more, and then G, Z, just bring it down. But yeah, this is totally up to you how you want to position your camera, but I'm just going to go something like this. Then I'm going to select this floor, and I'm going to go new, and I'm just going to call this material floor. And I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go to my viewport display, and just give that a color for now, whatever, it can be anything. Okay, so here we have our scene. So the next thing we're going to do is add in our lighting and our materials. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go to our render settings here. We're going to make sure the render engine is Eevee. You can work in cycles if you want to, but I'm just going to be using Eevee. Go to ambient occlusion, enable that, and also enable screen space reflections. The bloom we don't have to enable for this particular scene. So now that we've done that, we're going to go Shift A, we're going to go to our lights, add in an area light, and then go G, Z, just bring this area light up to here. Go to the size, and we're going to make it 5 meters. And we're going to increase the strength to 400. So type in 400 and hit enter. And then what we're going to do is go to our right orthographic view, bring this guy up a little bit, and go Shift D, duplicate it, and then rotate it forward a little bit like this. Go to your top view, and then go Shift D, duplicate it, bring it over here to the left, and then rotate it in towards the character. So go into your camera view, go Z, and go rendered. So this is going to be our lighting. I might bring down the intensity on this one just a little bit, so I'm going to make it 300, just like that. Okay, so here we have our scene nice and lit up. So let's get into those materials. So first thing I'm going to do is select this character over here, go to my shading, and then we're going to go over here back into our camera view, go Z, and just go rendered. And let's start with that first material we created, which was the M material. So what we're going to do first of all is go Shift A, we're going to search, and we're going to get a color ramp node. And a color ramp, sorry, I got the wrong thing there. So a color ramp. Then we're going to plug the color into the base color of our principled shader here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to search, and we're going to get a gradient. So type in gradient. So we're going to get a gradient texture. We're going to plug the color into the factor here. Then we're going to go Shift A, search, and get a mapping node. Grab the mapping node, and we're going to plug the vector here into the vector of the gradient. Then we're going to go Shift A, we're going to click here on search, and we're going to type in texture coordinate. You can do this automatically with the node wrangler, but I'm just doing this the simple way for you guys who might not have it. So grab the object here and plug it into the top socket here. So this should be our setup here. So just so you guys can have a look at it, I'll zoom in a little bit. So we have a texture coordinate, the object is plugged into the mapping, and then this vector goes into the vector of the gradient. Now what we need to do to make this work, because if we went into our rendered view, you can see over here that it's not facing the right direction. So let's come over here to the Y value, and we're going to make it 90, and we're going to hit enter. But at the moment we're getting this weird, it's too tight, so we're going to come here to our color ramp, and instead of having it in linear, we're going to make it B-spline, and that's going to soften that up a little bit. And now what we're going to do is make these two colors different. So we're going to click on this black slider here. In this one, we're going to make a darker kind of reddish color like this. And then we're going to grab this one up here and make it a lighter kind of pink, just so we get this watermelon effect. Then we're going to come to our subsurface amount here. We're going to make it 0.2. And then we're going to come here to a subsurf color, and we're going to make it like a pinkish, reddish kind of color like this. And there we have that. And we can also make it look cooler by adding a texture to it. So I'm going to go Shift A, search, and I'm going to get a noise texture. And do the same thing. So let's just duplicate these two. So I'm going to grab the mapping and a texture coordinate, and then go Shift D, just duplicate them, bring them down here. In fact, just get rid of the mapping. We don't actually need that. So we're just going to take the object here, plug it into the vector of the noise texture. Then we're going to go Shift A, search, and we're going to get a color ramp node. And we're going to plug the factor here, or the color, into the factor of the color ramp. Then we're going to go Shift A, search, and we'll get a bump node. And I'm going to take this bump node, place it over here, take the color, plug it into the height, make the strength 0.2, and then plug the normal into the normal of the principled shader, like so. And then what we also need to do is just wait for this to have a think about it. Okay, so once we can see that effect, just come over here to the scale, and we're going to make it 130. And you're going to see we now have this texture applied to our watermelon. So that's the watermelon material, pretty straightforward. Then what we're going to do is just hit A to select all of these nodes here. And then we're going to go left click, and we're going to go copy. Then we're going to go to the white material here. And we're just going to go A to select all of these nodes here, go X and delete. And then we're going to go right click, and we're going to go paste. And let's just make this material here less pink. So click on the first little value here and make it a little bit lighter. And then come up here to the node here at the top, this little button thingy, click on it and make it lighter as well. And then come here to the subsurf color and just make it lighter. Just like that. And maybe make this one a little bit less saturated. And then what we're going to do is go to our skin, and we're going to do the same thing, just delete these nodes, then right click and paste it in. And let's just come here and make the subsurf color green. And let's just make these colors here green as well. This one. Maybe a bit darker. Spend as much time as you want with it. I'm just gonna leave it at this. So there we have the skin material. Maybe bring the roughness on that down just a little bit to make it a bit more reflective. Okay, so now we have those materials added. Select the eyes here. And with this one, we're just going to leave it as a principled shader, and we're going to make the color black. And we're going to bring the roughness down quite a bit, just like that. Okay, now what we're going to do is select our floor here. And with the floor, what we're going to do is come here to the base color, and we're going to make it a purplish kind of color. Like this, almost like a violet kind of purple. And just we're going to bring the roughness on that down just a little bit as well. And here we have our watermelon scene here. So let's just go back to our layout, and let's just give this a render and see what it looks like. So I'm going to go render and render image. And here we have our final render. So that turned out really well. It's quite an adorable little scene. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I will be making this file available to my Patreons. So for those of you in Patreon, keep an eye out for this. More information on that in the description below. But you guys could totally use this sort of technique to make all sorts of things. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time for another tutorial.